Hey, Dub Maddox, R4 Football System. It's time to resurrect the R4 Football System channel, and I'm going to be more active on here. So I'm going to kick off this today with some of our accelerator grading. How do you watch film? Man, where do you go to learn how to watch film? That's something I really struggled with early on as a coach and had to feel my way through the dark for a long time. But over the years, I've been able to create some things, and I've finally had time to sit down here and package tools and tactics I put together that I feel are going to help you learn how to watch film better, and not only for you, but how to teach it to others so you can all get on the same page. And we've really got some new things going on, and I'm going to share some of them here in this video. So we're going to dive into some accelerator grading. I'm going to give you a little bit of a clinic I put together, and you guys check that out. Like this page, comment on it, ask questions, stay in touch with me, and I'll be on here answering. I'll be posting a lot more. So looking forward to sharing some stuff with you, help you guys just learn from my failures, because basically everything that I've created is all from failure. So hopefully I can help you prevent from making the same mistakes I have. But anyway, excited to share this. Let's dig into grading accelerators, how to grade game film using what we call the R4 Pass Accelerators. Check it out. Welcome to the R4 Accelerator Grading course. Today we're going to focus on passing grade accelerators using the R4 Accelerator Grading card. The first thing we're going to do when we get the scout film is we're going to compile the film and enter in all of the basic data that most teams enter for the defensive structure. Once we get all that in, we're going to take the accelerator grading cards and go position by position and extract clips that have valuable information. And that's what we're going to demonstrate here. For the sake of the course today, we're going to focus on the back end of the defense, the two corners and the two safeties. And we're going to look for film created by the playlist that we've made. And again, typical playlist can be anywhere from 15 to 20 clips. And we're going to use that playlist to grade each defender. We're going to start with the boundary corner here, number 24. So in the card, we would put number 24 in the left cell. And then the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see what route is being used to attack that defender. So you see that's a hitch route being used to attack number 24. So we'd write hitch underneath the coverage column, and then we write the coverage that the hitch is being defended with, and we would treat this as quarters here. So we write cover 4. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to see, okay, what is the defender using post-snap as the weapon to either delay or disrupt the decision or to collision and cap the route. In this case, this number 24 is using cushion, not collision, within his quarters coverage. So we're going to grade his cushion threshold. So at the top of the quarterback's drop, when he hits the last step of his drop, that's the rhythm phase of the throw. And we're going to grade the cushion threshold of number 24 in relation to the hitch. And you can see he's within 4 yards. We use the 4-yard rule. If he's within 4 yards, that's negative cushion. So we write negative in the cushion column. The next one we're going to grade is his dominant position. So that would be over, under, inside, or outside of the receiver at that moment in time. And so you can see this defender is over and inside. So we'd say OI for short. And then we grade his hip angle. Hip angle is square. All right, so we label those 3 cells accordingly in the cushion column. And then now we're going to grade his closure rate on the hitch route. When we grade closure rate, we have to establish, is he braking and driving on the break and drive of the quarterback's hands, or is he reading the receiver and braking and driving based on the receiver's break and drive? In this case, this number 24 is reading the quarterback's eyes. He is looking at the eyes to determine when to brake. And so when the quarterback breaks his hands, you can see that number 24 puts his brake step in the ground. When the ball's driven out from the quarterback's hands, you can see that number 24 is driven his drive foot out to break on the hitch space. And that's why the quarterback probably threw this extra wide, because he could feel that. That is a no-go for us. That's positive closure, right? We need to make sure we stay away from hitch routes, okay? And so on the grading card, we're going to illustrate the hitch. We're going to illustrate the over and inside position. We're going to illustrate the hip angle of that defender. And then we're going to highlight that we don't want to run the hitch. We want to run the hitch and go or some sort of double move against 24. Okay, let's go to the next clip. Here's another clip we found of 24 being attacked with the route, right? In this clip, the route is a curl route, so we got a deeper stem. So we'd write curl underneath the coverage column in the second cell. We'd also write 24 there as well to highlight 24. This is another quarters coverage clip. So we write cover 4 in the coverage column. This is a 4 bail. You can see 24 is bailing out a little faster here. So we would add that tag is give us more context on the different type of cover 4 he's playing there. And then now we're going to grade cushion or collision. In this case, he's clearly a cushion player. So we're going to stop the clip at the top of the quarterback's drop. And we can see at the rhythm phase, this DB number 24 has 1, 2, 3, 4 yards of cushion. We're grading from the top mark of his foot, okay, and we go a yard, 4 clicks down to the top part of the receiver's foot. That's exactly 4 yards. Okay, so that's neutral cushion. So we put neutral in the cushion column. Next thing we're going to look at is we're going to look at his dominant position. He is over and inside of the curl out. So we say OI. He has a zone hip angle at the rhythm phase of the throw. Okay, so again, you write zone for the hip angle position. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to grade his closure rate. All right, closure rate is graded based on the break and drive of the quarterback's hands or the break and drive of the receiver. 24 is looking at the break and the drive of the quarterback's hands. You can see that when the quarterback separates his hands, he is breaking. And when the quarterback releases the ball, he is driving. But because he has neutral cushion, and this receiver did a good job with his break rate, he is not able to make a play on the ball. So a deeper stem opens up the hips more, forces the hips to be more of a zone as opposed to square like in the hitch. So if we are going to attack this particular defender into the boundary, we need to attack him with stemmed routes over 10 yards. All right, that's a takeaway, or double moves. All right, so we were going to highlight curl is good, green for good on the card, and then we would go to the next clip. All right, now we're going to grade another defender. Now I want to show you in this clip that even though the quarterback is not throwing to the defender we are grading, you can still gather valuable information on different defenders. In this particular clip, we are grading the hitch route being run by the H, the slot receiver, over number 11. So we write number 11 in the third cell that we're grading on the grading card. We're going to write hitch. This is loose 0, so we'd say 0, and we would tag the label loose underneath just to give us more context to the style of cover 0 he's playing. And then now we need to establish a cushion or collision player. You can see that this number 11 is clearly playing with cushion, not collision. And what we're grading is at the rhythm phase of the throw, the last step of the quarterback's drop, we can see that he has positive cushion. He is over 4 yards. So we put plus for the cushion threshold. He's over and inside of the receiver, and he has a square hip angle. Next thing we're going to grade is his closure rate, right? The closure rate. We're going to grade the break and the drive of the defender in relation to the break and the drive of the throw of the route. Now, he is looking at the receiver, so he is establishing his break rate based on the receiver's break rate. So when the receiver hits his break step here, right? It's actually right here. Okay, you can see he's putting his break step in the ground, and then when the receiver drives, he's just hopping for his drive step. He's not gaining any distance back to the ball. He is putting his drive step in the ground. We would gauge this as a positive closure rate. If you look at this number 11, you can see he is taking 1, and he's breaking off the second step of his back pedal, and he's driving on the third step, right? So this is a very aggressive break rate. So we got to be careful about throwing quick game against loose 0 against 11, even though he has positive cushion. If it's any kind of in-breaking route, he potentially could close upon it. It's going to be very close. So we want to make a note here to double move him in this situation. And the best double move that we felt would be a sluggo because of the space that he would be breaking on and his aggressive break rate there. All right. So again, sluggo would be highlighted as an option. We want to stay away from hitch routes and end breakers there, even though it could probably be completed just because of the threshold. But again, it has to be a really quick release. All right, now we're going to continue on with our grading. Now we're going to go to a different defender. So in this particular clip, you're grading number 1. Number 1 is now playing the field safety. So number 1 and 11 would switch sometimes. So we're going to get a clip here of number 1. He's the primary free safety on the scout film that we achieved. So we're going to grade his technique in playing quarters. And so we would put number 1 in the grading column. We would put the route being attacked against him. In this case, it'd be another hitch route, okay? And so we put hitch in the coverage column, and then we put quarters or cover 4 as the coverage being played against it. Right, now, see a cushion or collision player, he's clearly a cushion player. So at the rhythm phase of the throw, even though the throw is not being thrown to the hitch, you can see that we have more than 4 yards of cushion, so that's positive cushion. You can see his defender's over and inside, so we say, oh, he has a square hip angle. Now we're going to grade his closure rate. And what we're looking for here is he's clearly looking at the break rate of the receiver. You can see that the receiver here is breaking and driving. And the DB is breaking and driving just a step late. His trigger rate is just a little bit slower than number 11, so we give him a negative closure grade. And so we like the hitch here. We like it because he's playing with positive cushion and his break rate is a little late. So way more cushion, less trigger rate. So we highlight hitch as green. We like it. All right, next clip here, right? We're going to grade now. Number 1 is over here to the boundary. Again, number 111 switch. So when he's a boundary safety, this is a glance route. We're going to grade his cap against the glance route. So we write number 1, we write glance. This is still quarters, so we write cover 4. He is clearly a cushion player, so we're going to grade his cushion threshold at the top of the drop. There's the rhythm phase. You can see that this defender is playing with more than 4 yards of cushion, so that's positive cushion. He's over and inside. He has a square hip angle, so we're seeing that same pattern show up within the quarters coverage. Right now, we're going to grade his closure rate. So the break of the route, he is looking at the receiver. You can see the break of the route here. So the break steps here and the drive steps here. So you can see he's a step late. His break steps in the ground way late compared to the break and drive of the receiver. So his break and drive is late. So that is a negative closure grade because of the cushion and because of the break rate being negative. If we throw that glance, that's a good route. We can beat that guy there, even though he has a dominant position, being over and inside leverage and square hip angle to play on that ball. So if we throw on the break, we can hit the glance or a slant against number 1. So we feel good there. All right, let's go to the next clip. Here's number 1 to the field. He's playing the field safety against the corner route being run by the H receiver. So we got a corner route being run against 1. So we put number 1 in the accelerator grade card. We write corner underneath coverage. And this is still quarters, so we write cover 4. Right now, we're going to grade his cushion technique, right? So at the top of the drop, at the break point of the route, you can see here that we have positive cushion. This defender is over 4 yards, right? So that's positive for cushion. He's still over and inside, and he's still square hip angle. Right now, we're going to grade his closure rate. So here, this is the break of the route. So we're gauging the break of the receiver's route since he's looking at the receiver with the break of the DB, right? So you can see his break step is in the ground just a step late, and his drive step is a step late, and his hip turns is a slight bit slower than the receiver's hip turn acceleration out of the break. So if we were to throw a corner, and we're just gauging the cap technique of number 1, the safety, we can win on the corner as long as the field corner if we can control him and keep him down. But that's not what we're grading here. We're grading just 1 defender, not 2. All right, so we feel good about the corner against number 1. Right, negative closure, good. So we highlight that as green and keep that there. Okay, in the next clip, what we're doing here is we are going to grade and show you examples of how you can use a clip to grade the cap technique of multiple defenders at the same time. All right, so in this clip, we have a double post, we have a skinny post, and we have a cop corner post on the outside against quarters coverage. All right, so this is number 1, and this is number 9. So we put 1 and 9 in the coverage cell, and we're going to put double post here. All right, so we got double post as the combination in the coverage column against quarters cover 4. So now we're going to grade the cushion technique or collision technique of these defenders. These are clearly cushion defenders, so we're going to grade the cushion technique of 1 first. Right, so we're going to play the clip and stop it at the last step of the quarterback's drop. Okay, so there's the last step. This is the rhythm phase. All right, so number 1 is right at 4 yards. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's neutral cushion. He's over and inside. He's got a square hip angle. So we fill that in accordingly. All right, if we look at number 9. Number 9, we are within 4 yards of number 9. So that's negative cushion. He's over and inside. He has a full hip angle. Right, let's look at the closure, okay? If we're looking at the closure grade of the inside skinny post, right? Because he has neutral cushion, he's over and inside the square hip angle, and his break and drive step matches the break and drive of the route, that is capped. So we add that as positive closure. So we don't like the skinny post against number 1 in quarters. Right? Now, number 9 there, you can see even though he's got a full hip angle, we're within 4 yards of cushion. You can see the closure rate of number 9 is not positive. That's negative closure. We were able to beat that guy. So again, that would be a negative grade there. Right now, as we look at this, as we draw the double post concept out, we're going to draw out the routes and we are going to position the defenders as dots with hip angles at the rhythm phase. And then we're going to look at this, and based on the grades, we're going to say that we really like the sail route better by the H as opposed to a skinny. We can basically get the same type of impact. We can still hit the top post if we got a matchup with 9, but we also gain the advantage of hitting the sail based on the dominant position, the hip angle, the closure rate of number 1. So let's use his leverage against him. And so that's when we highlight sail better as being a better play for us than double post. All right, now we got another clip of double post here in the scout film. So we go to the next grading cell. This is against number 1 and 24. So number 1 is the field safety, the same guy we saw in the last clip. 24 is a new corner, right? It's usually boundary corner. They move him around. So let's grade his cap technique against the field post. So this is double post. So we write double post in the column. This is against cover 4. So we're going to grade the cushion threshold of number 1 first at the rhythm phase. So the last step of the quarterback's drop, we can see something happens a little differently here. Okay, we can see number 1 is actually opening up. Okay, he's got way more cushion. So he's got positive cushion there. He's over and inside, but he has a man hip angle, different than the last clip. And the reason why is this receiver is actually running a 7-step skinny post as opposed to the last receiver ran a 5. So that's an important piece of information for us, is that if we run double post or run sail, if we can get our stem to over 7 steps or 9 yards, then we can force this number 1 to open his hips with more cushion to create more space. So this is how we could open up essentially a snap, post or snap dig if we wanted to run a true double post. So again, these are some nuances you'll see when you grade film is, okay, well, why does he have one hip angle or deeper cushion on one type of concept or actually it's the same concept, but 2 different concepts, 2 different ways. It's a lot of times it's the step spacing or it's the speed of the receiver that's running that. And that's the case here. This receiver's running 2 steps deeper. All right, so that's something we want to coach up. We're going to run double post or maybe mills with post dig. In order to open that up, we got to get through 10 yards or 7 steps. Okay, all right, now let's grade the cushion threshold of 24. You can see 24, right, is right at 4 yards at the rhythm phase. That's neutral. He's over and inside, and he has a full hip angle. Right, 24, okay, let's look at the closure rate. Right, it's hard to see what the closure rate on the skinny post is here because he's off the screen, but clearly 24 has got a dominant position to close the post, and that's probably why the quarterback took the sack here, is because he felt that as well with his eyes and they didn't have an outlet. All right, so again, I really like the sail concept here. It looks like they are committing to the post. They're not going to fall off on it in their quarters. So we write sail. We write the note 7 step, man turn, gives us a man turn, which opens up more inside space. And then we would draw the double post play with the different hip angles at the rhythm phase on the top of the grading card. All right, let's look at one more clip here. Okay, this is a smash combination into the boundary, right? This is an example of how you can grade 3 defenders in one clip. So a lot of times you're going to get, 2 read or triangle coverages. You can grade 3 defenders at one time. So we're going to be at the top of the screen here. We've got a boundary smash, a boundary corner, and hitch. So we're going to grade number 12, the wheel linebacker. We're going to grade number 11, the boundary safety, and number 9, the boundary corner here. So we write their numbers accordingly. And then we're going to write smash concept in the coverage column. We're going to write cover 2, and we're going to label it with more context. This is 2 cloud. Cloud for us is a hard collision cover 2 corner. All right, now we're going to grade the cushion and collision of these defenders. Now, number 12 and number 11 are cushion players. They're not trying to collision. So we're going to grade them first. So number 12, okay, at the rhythm phase, we're going to play the clip, stop at the last step of the quarterback's drop. At the rhythm phase, there is no collision by 12. He's playing strictly with cushion, right? He's got negative horizontal cushion in relation to the corner route. He's within 4 yards horizontally of him. He's under and inside of the route. And he has a man hip angle, right? If you look at number 11 has a neutral cushion threshold vertically. He's 4 yards exactly from the receiver running the corner route at the break point. He's over and inside with a man hip angle. He's in a pretty good position with his hip angle to close and cap that corner space, especially being in the boundary. All right, let's look at the closure rate. All right, now this route wasn't thrown here, but if it was thrown, we would say 11, okay, had positive closure on that because he is matching the break rate of 15, right? And he had the hip angle at the break point to close on that space, right? So what we're looking at here is there a better way? So let's draw up the corner and the hitch in the top cell, and then let's draw the dominant positions of defenders at the rhythm phase and their hip angles, okay? And before I get to the final answer, let's look at number 9. Number 9 is clearly playing with collision. That's positive collision there. He's controlling the route, so we give him a positive collision grade. And then now we can look at the clip and see that if we were to run a dig route, that would be more favorable based on the cap technique of this cover 2 triangle. Right? You can see that since he's within 4 yards, number 12 is within 4 yards of horizontal cushion, that dig space is viable, and especially since the hip angle of the boundary safety is man, it's not zone, it's not square, so we would want to tag levels and run levels hitting the dig against this team in cover 2 as opposed to smash. Right? So that's a note we make and highlight that and carry that into the game plan. Right, some other things that you can grade with accelerated grading cards, the pass acceleration, is you can grade your perimeter screen game. Right, your key screens, swing screens, even jet sweeps and fly sweeps, we toss them in front, so we treat those as extensions of the perimeter bubble key passing game. And so here's an example. Anytime you have scout film of perimeter screen game, you can grade multiple defenders and how well they block destruct. Right, and that can help, and how well they trigger. What's their closure rate? This can help you determine if you need to work pumps early, or you can get away with just throwing your perimeter screens. All right, so here we're going to grade number 3, we're going to grade number 1, and we're going to grade number 24. All right, so we write their numbers accordingly in the first cell. This is a tailback bubble screen against quarters. All right, and we're going to first grade the cushion technique of those defenders. All right, so again, number 3, we're going to grade his cushion threshold. He's within, okay, 4 yards. So that's negative. Number 1 is more than 4 yards. Number 24 is more than 4 yards. That's positive. Okay. And what we're doing is we're grading at the rhythm phase just so we can help determine as coaches we like the screen space or need to throw pumps or verticals on that. All right. Next, we're going to grade is his closure rate. We're grading how well he closes space based on what he's looking at. Now they're looking at the quarterback here. Right. So are they breaking when the quarterback breaks and drives? Okay, you can see all of them are breaking with the exception of 24, the corner. So number 3, he's breaking. Number 1 is breaking. Number 24 is late on his break rate, so he has a negative break rate on the closure grade. And then collision. How well do they collide and separate? We call this block destruction. How well they destroy the block. They've got to create a collision with a shock, and then they have to shed the block. So we're grading number 3 first. You see number 3, all right, he has a negative shock and shed grade for collision, doesn't create any separation, gets blocked. You can see now we're going to grade number 1, right? Not much collision there, didn't separate, right? Didn't make the play. And then 24, you can see here, coin, that's 3 negatives. So that bodes well for us. So, okay, so we're going to carry this in. We highlight T-bubble. We like our perimeter game against these guys. And we need to elevate our perimeter calls, our perimeter screen calls early in the game to make sure that what we're grading is holding true. Because if it is, we need to run more of those all night. And here's another clip of a T-bubble play against scout film. All right, so we're grading number 12 because number 3 is blitzing. All right, the other backer, number 32, is blitzing. And so now we got 12, a wheel linebacker, trying to come out here and replace the blitzers. And so we're going to grade him. We're going to grade 1, and we're going to grade 24 now, again, on the T-bubble. All right, so put T-bubble quarters, number 12, positive cushion, right, at the rhythm phase. There's more than 4 yards of cushion between him and the ball carrier. Number 1, it's got more than 4 yards. Number 24, more than 4 yards. That's all positive. So that just, again, highlights to us as coaches. They're giving us a lot of space to throw the flare game and the bubble game. All right, now we're going to grade the closure rate. You can see number 12 is unblocked, and he's not able to close that space. That's negative closure, and we highlight that as unblocked so we can know that even if we don't block him, that's a mismatch with our speed on his speed. All right, now we're going to look at number 1 next, the field safety. Number 1, what's his closure rate? Is he braking and driving on the quarterback's break and drive? Okay, he's not. He's still on his back pedal. That's negative there. You can see 24, negative break rate. All right, so again, we want to stay with throwing our key screen game. We see them not closing at the release of the ball. Now we're going to go to collision. All right, so get the collision grade on block destruction. You can see there is no separation. There is no shock and shed. And so that is, again, negative grades there for all 3 of those defenders. So what we just learned in 2 clips is we have to come out throwing our perimeter key screen game against these guys. All right, last clip here. It's a jet sweep. Call it jet pass for us. We pass it in front. Okay. All right, what we're grading here, extracting this, is we're watching number 11, the play side, pin player, fit player, force player. And what we're looking at is how does he play the jet pass in quarters, right? We're going to worry about closure. What's his closure rate in quarters? And you can see he's already downhill before the ball's even in the hands of the jet sweep runner. It's a positive closure. Positive trigger is another term we use. And so we want to work our fly fake boot pass or fly fake shot pass off of this guy with his eyes in the backfield like this. Okay, now he does have positive collision. He shocks and sheds and maintains outside leverage. So again, that just highlights to us if we want to run jet pass, we probably want to set him up with the shot first. And we're going to see this. So again, he plays the jet pass well with positive collision, shock and shed, make the tackle. But we can use that aggressiveness and that trigger technique, that positive closure rate against him. So that's when we make a note here, fly boot play. Fly boot is a variation of a shot pass for us off the fly action. We are teaching you how to process the micro movement patterns in the post-snap world that reveal the reality of what open is going to be. And that's what the grading process does. You don't have to grade 65 clips of all 11 defenders. With just 1 to 3 plays within a same coverage, you're going to be able to pinpoint exactly the strengths and the weaknesses of that defender and how to counterattack his post-snap movements. This process that we're undergoing helps inform the game plan process. This is the newly reformatted R4 game plan pad with the R4 formational grids, and we have a newly formatted defensive caps grid that goes on top to streamline the play calls of the defensive coordinator and informs the play calls you need to counterattack them. It gives you sheets over here to give all the looks that you're seeing on film and help put them in a process that makes the patterns pop. And the grading cards, the process we're doing now, informs and confirms that the plays that you like against that defensive coordinator are going to hold up. You can essentially play the game out before it's been played. You don't have to wait till Friday night or Saturday to guess right. And that's what we're trying to teach you how to do, is stop guessing and start grading, start calling plays with more confidence. There is run accelerator grade cards as well. This is all taught in the R4 Film Mastery Toolkit. I failed to mention that we have a 12-module on-demand video course with all of these tools. You get 100 accelerator grading cards. You get a game plan pad. You get a 12-module course going to walk you step by step with game film like this on how to learn how to watch film more efficiently, spotlight the patterns that matter most, and call better plays. All right, let's get to some of the game clips here and show you how just the 3 grades that we graded on this card helped us make better play calls in that game, and also almost hurt us because we didn't trust the grades. And that's a point you'll see here being made, is always trust your grades. And that's something I constantly have to remind myself. So let's get to the game film. I'll be shooting more of this stuff here. So like, comment in the section, ask questions. I'm going to be more available on here to help you guys walk you through this process, and check out the course. Get on R4 footballsystem.com. Check out the R4 Film Mastery Toolkit. Lock that in right now. We have limited supply of the accelerator grading cards and the game plan pad, but lock that in now. Get your seat and get this going so you can be ready by season to learn how to call better plays, watch film more efficiently, and get it passed on to your players. All right, the next step with the accelerator grading is now to go to the actual game film against the opponent that we just scouted and graded, and to show you how we use the grades to game plan open space, and then also to remind you of how you need to trust the grades and to eliminate potential mistakes. And I always like to start with this first clip as an example. You can see that we started with the grading card with number 24, and that was the boundary corner. All right, so I'm going to highlight him here. Boundary corner number 24. If you remember on the grading card, he had positive closure, the hitch route. And so again, if you look here, negative cushion, over and inside, square hip angle, eyes on the quarterback. Everything says stay away from the hitch. Well, what are you doing? We're throwing the hitch, and we had just missed a potential pick six situation. And if our quarterback didn't have such a quick release, it probably would have resulted in that. But we should have stayed away from that. It was on the grading card. We should have iterated that to the quarterback before the game. Against 24, we don't like the boundary hitch. We need to do what? We need to either double move him or run routes that extend deeper to turn his hips and create more space out of the break. All right, next clip. In the grading card, the next person that we went against was number 11, graded number 11, and he was lined up to the boundary and the field. We tried to formation him to get him to the field. And if you remember on the grading card, he had consistent positive cushion, but he had a positive break rate. So he was over and inside with a positive break rate. And so we were concerned about throwing any kind of quick slant or hitch against him because of that positive break rate. It's a very aggressive defender. And so if you remember on the scouting card, we schemed up a sluggo to attack him with, and that's what we're going with here. So let's see if the grade holds true. You can see there's the positive break rate. You can see even though he has more than 4 yards of cushion, the break rate allows us to break the threshold with his square hip angle, and we're able to create space on the sluggo. The issue was the quarterback overthrows it. This brings up a critical coaching point on double moves, is that you constantly have to work with your quarterback on double moves to make sure he understands the splashdown space for the route. He's not throwing to a person, he's throwing to a splashdown space. The splashdown space for double moves for the slant go for us is 25. And the quarterback has to remember that the receiver has to set the route up. He's not able to maintain full speed in and out of the breaks. So it's not like he's just running a takeoff go ball or a seam. And so he has to take a little bit off. And this ball was thrown at 30 yards, actually 29. So again, that's the reason why we didn't catch that. And you call the double move, quarterback's amped up, adrenaline's flowing, he's ready to take a shot. You have to constantly remind him to relax and just put the ball down the splashdown space, and that will be a completion. We came back to it later in the game. We, again, formation number 11 to the field. And the point of this clip is to show that the accelerator grades still hold true. He's still over and inside. He still has a positive trigger rate. I think that's the thing I want to make sure I continue to emphasize, is that that defender's not going to change in a week. He is who he is based on the grades. And if they're in the same type of coverage that you graded, you're going to get the same result. And there we have the splash down at 25. We're able to get the completion. All right, the next defender that we game planned and that we graded on the accelerated grading card was number 1. That's the field safety. He was mostly to the field. You can see that his grade on the grading card, he had consistently had positive cushion, so he has way more cushion, and that he was a consistent negative break rate on horizontal routes underneath. And so we decided to attack him with a simple hitch by the slot receiver. You can see there that we're able to catch and secure the hitch with a lot of cushion because he was playing with more than 4 yards. And then he also had a negative break rate, and that allows us to catch, tuck, and get yards after the catch because he couldn't close quickly. So an explosive play on a simple inside hitch was game planned, and we got to it very quickly in the game because we could trust the accelerator grading cards. Right, number 1, again, on his routes on the grading card, he consistently had negative closure on routes underneath, also corner routes, and also we had the post route on the skinny. He had a positive on, but we game planned a post corner or a sail concept. So most of our game plan was built around attacking one because he had a consistent negative closure grade on all those routes. And you can see here we're able to catch and secure the fin before he can recover and get a nice, easy 7-yard gain on 1st and 10, which is always good. Okay, number one, again, on the grading card, he had a negative break rate on glance routes. So we felt on slants or glances, we could carry that grade over. And we're going to work a simple swing action to control the flat defender and then use the negative break rate of number one on the slant. And what I want to highlight here is there's the break of the slant route. That's the break step. And then the next step is the drive step. And notice that now number one is just now putting his break step in the ground on the receiver's drive step. So he's a step late. So you combine this being a step late with the extra cushion, the positive cushion there being more than 4 yards, we're able to secure that slant before he can make a play on it. Now, again, if he had a positive break rate there or less cushion, he's probably going to make a play on that slant. But we felt confident in that scheme because of the accelerator grading card. Okay, next clip, attacking number one. If you remember on the double post grades for number 1 and number 9 or number 1 and 24, if we ran a 5-step skinny post, number 1 was over and inside with a zone hip angle, and he was able to close on that space. We also had a clip against number 1 on a corner route where he was over and inside, and he had a negative break rate on the corner. So we combined the two stems, and we're going to work a post corner on this play and use those two reactions that we saw on scout film against him. So there's the 5-step break on the glance, and then we break on the corner, and you can see how his break rate is still negative. Bad hips there, and we're able to create space on the post corner. And we didn't complete this, but what do we gain? We gain a PI on that play, and that still counts an explosive. So again, our job as coaches is to game plan and get players in position to make plays, game plan and create space. That's what we're doing here on all these plays. It's a player's job to execute. Okay, in the double post grading, if you remember, number 9 had negative cushion, but he had a full hip angle. He was out of there. He was capping the cop post with his dominant position. Now, he wasn't fast enough with his closure to recover on the scout film, but we're going to run him off like we saw on the film. But instead of working a double post, we condensed our split, and we're going to run a post sail combo because, again, of number 1. He was consistently over and inside, a square hip angle with a negative break rate. So we're going to use those grades to confirm that we felt really good about our post sail concept. And you can see here that number 1, again, over and inside, square hip angle, negative break rate. He's late. And look at all the space we're scheming there to throw a nice, easy, high percentage sail route. You or I could probably throw that as open as it is. Okay, again, another example. They subbed out number 9 and put in a backup number 19. We didn't have a grade for him, but obviously since he's a backup, we're not as worried about him. But again, we're going to scheme up another post sail combination here against number 1 because he's consistently over and inside, square hip angle, negative cushion, and we're able to scheme up that sail space for another easy completion. So felt really confident in that because of the grades that we graded on those 2 double post clips in the scout film. All right, number 11. Remember, we saw one clip of cover 2 on the boundary smash play in scout film. So we tried to condense our split into a stack to force a cover 2 type check. And that's what we're seeing here. Now, we were anticipating more of a cover 2 cloud. But again, number 9 is not over there. He's playing here to the bottom of the screen. So it's number 24. Number 9 had positive collision on his grade on the scout film. But we are attacking number 11. And if you remember when we saw the smash clip on the scout film, number 11 was consistently over and inside with a man hip angle. And he was doing a great job with his body position and break on the route to close the corner route. So we used that action against him in the game plan. And so again, you see the outside linebacker is within negative 4 yards of horizontal cushion. And so instead of working the corner route, we're working the dig to create a levels concept, and we felt that the levels would be much more favorable because of how number 11 played the top of the cover 2 triangle. And we're able to hit that dig route and get a few yards of yak after that for an easy first down. All right, now let's talk perimeter screens. Remember on the accelerator grading cards on perimeter screens, we graded number 3, we graded number 1, we graded number 24, and that's what we're looking at here. Now, we're not working a T-bubble here play, but we are working just a simple now screen to number 1. We felt that with the cushion grade, the positive cushion that number 1 had and his negative closure rate, we're going to impact him with the run action on the RPO. We felt 24 would be very susceptible to be getting blocked because he was negative on every collision grade that we had. And that holds true here. Notice that 24 still cannot gain separation and shock and shed the block. And we're able to get the ball into our outside receiver with space on number 1. And again, what do we see on the perimeter screen game? On the scout film, number 1 had positive cushion and had a negative closure rate. So another 7-yard gain there on first down. Okay, another perimeter key screen here. So now we're going to crack number 3, which we graded his collision grade as negative. And now we're able to stalk number 24, which he consistently had a negative collision grade. And then again, number 1 is high. And we're going to bring our Z receiver over the top for the key screen. So the grades hold true. What do you notice? Number 3 doesn't shock and shed. Number 24 doesn't shock and shed. We're able to get a nice, easy first down throw on a perimeter screen there. So point here being that the accelerator grading cards gave us confidence in these plays. We put them and front load them in the game plan on the play call sheet early. And then we make adjustments if they start adjusting and reacting differently. Okay, last clip here is number 11. Remember, we graded number 11's closure rate on jet passes. And so what we're trying to here is give some jet pass window dressing, and this is our boot pass play off the jet or fly fake. And what we're trying to illustrate here is number 11 still has a positive trigger rate with his eyes in the backfield like we saw in that scout film grade. And that allows us to sneak our number 2 receiver in the condensed set across for an easy high cross throw. Again, that play specifically was game plan because of the accelerator grade reaction of number 11 on the jet sweep play from scout film. Okay, so hopefully that gives you some examples and some ideas of how we use the accelerator grading cards. And we just graded, we had 3 in the front, 3 in the back, 2 cards. That's 12 total clips that we graded. But you saw the explosive plays and the easy completions we were able to generate in just one game. And there was more from that game, but I just want to give you just some examples of some of the things that we were able to do and attack defensive players differently based on those simple grades. I would recommend teaching your quarterbacks and receivers how to grade the pass accelerators. Give them a card. Give them one card. Have them take it home. Have them watch that clip of 15 or 20 plays and say, hey, I want you to come back with at least 1 to 3 nuggets of either a route you like or a concept you like that we run to attack that specific player. Give them ownership. Empower them. Offload some of the work as a coordinator to your assistants. Empower them to come away. Hey, give me 1 to 3 nuggets in the passing game with the cards and put them on my desk on Sunday before the game plan meeting. This is something that's really helped foster ownership and excitement in our program with our players and coaches. It allows me to offload some of the stress that I have as a play caller and as a game planner. And I can trust my players and coaches to give me valuable feedback because we're all working from the same frames of reference using the same process.